Hey, it's Vicky, and today I'm here to talk about the books I read in May. May was a slower month for me, at least it felt slower. It was also just very busy, and June is not any better. June is probably the busiest month of the year for me. So there's just a lot of stuff going on. End of the school year, activities are coming to an end for the kids, all that kind of stuff. So it's been busy. But I did read 6 books in May. Let's see, I read 2 print books, 1 ebook, and 3 audiobooks. So audiobooks were my friend in May. But in this wrap up, I'm only actually going to talk about 2 books because the other 4 I already talked about in other videos. So I did a reading vlog this month where I read the nominees for the Bram Stoker Award for 2022 for Best Achievement in a Novel. And so I read 3 books this month that were part of that video. So I read Sundial by Katrina Ward, which was a 4-star read. I read The Fervor by Alma Katsu, which was 3.5 stars. And I read The Devil Takes You Home by Gabino Iglesias, which was also 3.5 stars. So I'm not going to talk about those again, but I will link the video of that vlog if you want to see my full thoughts on that and which one I thought was the winner, or should be the winner for the Bram Stoker Award for 2022. And then I did another episode of Books and Baking where I read a cozy mystery that included recipes, and I read the book and did some of the recipes in the book and sort of reviewed both. This time around I read Key Lime Pie Murder by Joanne Fluke. It was a lot of fun. And I gave that one, I believe, 3 stars. So again, I will link that vlog if you want to watch it and see my full thoughts on that book. So the first book that I completed in May was Pines by Blake Crouch, and this is a book that I've had on my shelves for 5 years. It was part of my, I always forget what I've been calling this. My revisit remix, there we go. And it was like, it's a project I'm doing where, books that have been on my shelves for 5+ years, I have to read this year or they have to go. So this was one of those books. This is the first book in a trilogy. And it's about a guy, I can't remember what his name is, Ethan. His name is Ethan Burke. He is a Secret Service agent. And one day he has to go to this town called Wayward Pines because he is looking for a couple of agents that have disappeared. And that's all I'm gonna say about it, because this book, like, just like every Blake Crouch book I've ever read, it just, bam, page 1 hits the ground running and the pace just never stops. I did not want to put this book down. If like life wasn't happening and I could have just sat and binged this book, I would have, because the pacing was just so good. It was such a page turner. And this one, it just, it took some turns that I was not expecting. The twists for me were just great. And like I said, this is the first book in a trilogy, and where this one ends, I feel like I need to read book 2 as soon as possible. And I actually buddy read this with Carol over at Carol Marie Reads, and she actually did pick up the second book, and I think she's also now reading the 3rd book because she said it's basically still just page turning, don't want to put it down. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's definitely one of those books too that as you're reading it, you're not entirely sure what's happening and you're trying to figure it out. And I had some theories which were not right, but it was still fun to like try to figure out and all of that. And I definitely need to get my hands on the second book, which I believe is called Wayward, if I'm remembering right. So yeah, hopefully I'm gonna pick that up soon. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. And then the last book I'm gonna talk about in this video, this is the shortest wrap up ever. This is so weird. But anyways, the last book I'm gonna talk about is a short story collection that I started in April and didn't quite finish because it actually turned out to be quite a long collection, and that is Full Throttle by Joe Hill. And this one, like I said, it's like, I want to say it was like 460 some pages, which is kind of big for a short story collection. And I think it was 13 stories. And I have to say that this is probably one of the best collections I've ever read. Every collection got at least 3 stars from me. And some of them, there were 1, 2, 3, 4 that were 5 stars for me that I absolutely loved. Joe Hill is, I think, he's really good at writing short fiction. He has another short story collection called 20th Century Ghosts, and that was the second book of his that I read. And again, I thought that collection was also really, really good. And so I think, like, I wish he wrote more short fiction, but just as an author in general, he's great. I love Joe Hill. He's definitely, like, top tier for me in terms of authors. I don't know why it's taken me so long to read this collection because, like I said, it did not disappoint. My favorites were Dark Carousel, which is about kind of what the title suggests, and an evil, like, merry-go-round carousel that you would see, like, at a fair or whatever, right? Late Returns, which was about a bookmobile, which I loved. All I Care About Is You was kind of a sci-fi, it had like a sci-fi bent that had a very, like, jaw-dropping ending for me that just blew my mind. Twittering from the Circus of the Dead was super fun. It was all told through tweets, like on Twitter, super cool, and was just very, very highly entertaining. So all in all, it was a really good collection. When I read a short story collection, I always give every story a rating and then I do an average, and this averaged out to a 4. So all in all, a very good collection. If you are into short fiction, specifically like horror, weird kind of stuff, definitely check this out. He did a couple stories in here. I think there were 2 that he co-wrote with Stephen King, his father. Those were good, but to me, they weren't the standouts, but they were still good. So I would say, yeah, if you're at all interested in this collection, you should definitely check it out. It's well worth the read. All right, guys, so that's it. Like I said, this is the shortest wrap-up ever. It feels so weird, but let me know down below if you've read any of these books and if you liked them or didn't. I want to know. And let me know also in the comments what your favorite read from May was, because I want to know that too. So, okay, I think that's it. I hope you guys had a great month. I hope that June treats you well and that you are able to kick off summer with some great reads, and I will talk with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.